Hey all, it's Victoria. Today we are talking about letting go of the past. Now, this can apply to a lot of different things, but we're going to talk today about how this relates to being trans. So, when you first come out of the closet, you're trying to find yourself, you're trying to take off the mask of the one that you've worn for however long. In my case, it was 42 years. I was married, 2 kids, a family that all thought I was this boy. They were wrong. So you're trying to find yourself. And letting go of the past is, when I refer to that, it's the things that are part of your old life that are not part of your authentic truth. Now, some of the things from your past are going to be part of your future self and your true self because those things are actually part of you and not parts of the masks that you put on. Let me think of an example right now. Let's say you are somebody who likes to work out, like this. And maybe you were a bodybuilder. Maybe you did bodybuilding. Maybe that was the thing that was part of your mask. And not to say that fitness and health and all that stuff wasn't part of your authentic truth, but being a professional bodybuilder probably isn't, unless it is. And that's why it's all of us on our own individual journeys and whatever that looks like for each person. But sometimes it's being in the military, sometimes it's acting and behaving in ways that are counter to how we actually are. And we did those things because they kept us safe. So, for example, in my case, I was a workout person, but I was a much, much more extreme version of a workout person. I had like shredded abs and things that I used to protect myself from visibility from other people. So I figured in my head that if I was this jacked guy who knew about sports and drove my car fast and all of these things, then obviously I couldn't be trans, right? So it was kind of like a mask that I had used. Now, interestingly enough, I still drive fast. So why is that something that I didn't let go of? Well, that's such an interesting kind of idea. I still like driving fast. I still like getting in my car and being a little speed demon. And it's not masculine per se. It's just something that I like. And so as a society, we determine what is a masculine trait and what is a feminine trait and what kind of behaviors men have and what kind of behaviors women have. And we compartmentalize everybody into these boxes: boy box, girl box. If you're in the girl box, you have to act with these list of traits. And if you're in the boy box, you have to live with these list of traits. And everybody knows that that's bullshit. There is high-powered women who have all of these masculine traits, but they are clearly in the female trait and they're happy there. And there's lots of men who are soft and all of these other perceived feminine traits, and they are still in the masculine box because that's where they want to be, and we should just get rid of these boxes altogether. But point being that we have, as a trans person, initially you have a mask. You wear that mask as a protection for yourself before you come out. I know with me, I did all of these things that I perceived to be masculine that were not authentic to myself. And so letting go of the past is letting go of some of the things that you needed to do to feel safe when you needed to wear that mask. But now that you have become unmasked and your true self, and therefore vulnerable, and that's really scary in and of itself, but sometimes we hold on to the things that we kept us safe before we transitioned. And then in our transition, those things that we're still holding on to because they kept us safe are possibly just no longer necessary. We may not need to do those things, and therefore it's redundant and useless, and etc., etc. And it also isn't authentic. But even more so, even worse than that, potentially, these things that we're holding on to that used to keep us safe, they actually are detrimental to us. They actually hold us back from attaining the goals that we want and to be the authentic version of ourselves that we want. Imagine a trans person who comes out of the closet, and when they were presenting masculine, they had never allowed themselves to cry. They never showed emotion. They were not affectionate with their spouse. They did all of these things that they perceived as masculine because they needed to wear that mask at that time. And then they come out of the closet, and all of a sudden, the world is a totally different new place. All of a sudden, you feel this amazing ability and vulnerability to actually open up and show your emotions and feel safe enough to be all of these things that you've always wanted to be. And I know for myself, I cry at commercials now, and I cry at movies. And I just was, a couple of days ago, I was talking about how I wanted to go to a music festival, and I started crying, like, honestly. And it has been such a wonderfully freeing experience because that was what was authentic. And it's interesting because things that are authentic to you don't take a lot of energy. They don't take a lot of bandwidth. Something that's the truth feels normal. It feels free. It feels easy. And things that require constant effort and work, and because we needed them as a mask before, if they still feel easy and free and natural, that's one thing. But if it feels like you're putting on a show, it's fake. It's not real. And it speaks to how that part of your life is no longer needed. So coming out and being emotional has been such an absolutely freeing experience for me. And I still work out. Why? Because working out is still authentic to me. I love working out still. And are my workouts different? Yes, for sure. Why? Because I no longer need the mask of that jacked dude, because I'm not. And what has felt authentic is still working out, but it's actually working out to attain the goals that I want for my body. Before, I had a goal of protecting myself from the outside world so they couldn't see me, right? And now I work out for me. How totally different. I no longer work out for other people. If other people like my body, Madison, hello, that's amazing, right? But I don't do it for them. I do it for me. I do it so I can feel safe. I can feel happy in my body. I can feel that my body aligns with the mental image in my head of who I am. And so I know that that's a very authentic thing. And what's interesting is I've had to wrestle with this notion of big biceps being masculine because that's what society says is in that box. And since when are muscles boy things, when boys and girls have muscles? That's insane, right? And when is a beautiful feminine shape? Of course it has muscle, at least in my eyes. And so, again, hi, Madison, because she has a beautiful body and it has muscles in it, and it's extremely feminine and beautiful. So, with all that being said, just a reminder to constantly reassess yourself, constantly grow and evolve and become the person that you want to become. You want to be your most authentic version, and you want to do that in a way that feels the most authentic, because as we transition, we want to let go of those layers that hold us back. And we want to let go of a past that does not feed us anymore. We want to become the person that we actually want to be. And that's just actually assessing and reassessing who we are and finding out what works for us and what doesn't. And as trans people, I think we are one of the very, very few people in this world who get to really live that experience to the nth degree. You know, we are searching for ourselves, and we find ourselves, and we become ourselves, and we become passionate about living that authentic truth. And sometimes living that authentic truth means letting go of things that held you back. So, with that being said, love you all. Let go of the past if it doesn't feed you. Always search for the authentic truth. Bye.